right. Well, welcome everybody to yet another episode of Seize Your Business. Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law and Jim Wozak from Success Enhancement are your hosts. And our guest today is David Grossman from Renew Business Systems. And we've talked before, and there's been a lot of information about franchising and choosing a franchise or not. And most of the people I've heard talk about that are franchise brokers who are obviously looking to just put people in franchises. Today we have an actual real owner of a franchisor business. So why don't we start by, David, giving us a little overview of exactly what Renew does.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. Our company is 25 years old. We're based outside of Chicago, and we are a specialized business services. What we do is we clean hotels. Very simply, we do the specialized work, cleaning anything inside the hotel, from the carpets in the hallways to the marble in the lobbies to the drapes and furniture, and special situations like floods or when guests bring a pet in the room or smoke in the room, whether they're supposed to or not. That's what we do. And because we have this focus and have been doing it for almost 25 years, we've developed some good relationships to the point that we are preferred vendor with lots of big hotel chains like Marriott and Hilton and Hyatt and Fairmont and Wyndham, Best Western, and a bunch of others. And we started franchising about a dozen years ago, and we now have about 25 franchises, mostly in the U.S., and recently started expanding internationally. So we're now in 5 countries on 3 continents.
Super, super. Well, one of the things that often is discussed is what should a person look at when they're thinking about buying a franchise. But what I don't hear too much about, and I want to ask you about, is what is the franchise or yourself looking for in a potential franchisee? Because I could want to have a franchise with all my heart, but if I don't fit the qualifications of the franchisor, it's going to be tough. So what are like some of the things you look for in a potential franchisee?
It's a good question, because you're right, usually it's from the other way around. And so when we meet a candidate that lives or wants to live in an area that we're looking for a franchisee, that's obviously a first initial check. We want to get to know them. It's really a dating process, not only for us, but also for that person, because it's a big decision for both sides. The candidate spending a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy into this, and the same thing for us is that we're giving up a nice territory, and we're going to invest a lot of our resources and time and reputation, as well as our intellectual property, disclosing that to that person. So it's a very important decision on both people's end to do it, and so you want to get to know each other well. So that's it. So a lot of it in our cases, I could almost care less about what their background is. Do they know cleaning, example, or do they know hotels? Very few of our franchisees did. To begin with, and that's fine because we can train them. We've got good systems. We're really looking for someone we think we can get along with well. We think will follow our systems, because when you're buying a franchise, one of the main reasons you're doing it is that you are buying into the concept of that franchisor. You're not there to reinvent the wheel. You want to follow their systems because you know they work. So we want to find somebody that will really largely follow our systems. We're not saying that they have to be a robot, but we're looking for someone who will buy into that and, maybe do some tweaks, some refinements here or there. But we want to make sure that that person does it and has the right sort of personality and skill set for our system. Some systems, when I say that, some franchise systems would be, as an example, looking for someone to do some technical work, like, but in our cases, we're looking more for a salesperson, a relationship person. So those are some of the things that we look for. It's really kind of a dating period, I think, is the way to look at it.
Can you tell us about maybe a particularly interesting situation where the franchisee came from a like a very unusual background to be getting into business,
Yeah.
and how's that sort of worked out?
Sure.
You don't have to mention any names, obviously, but just general characteristics.
Yeah, I can give an example of one of our franchisees is a veteran. Didn't really have a lot of money, but we worked with them to give them, so we were able to get them some financing so that they were able to afford it. We do give a discount, some others do too, to veterans,
Okay.
to try to make it work. And veterans are a great example because coming out of the military, they're used to following a playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've got, like us, a franchisor with a nice playbook, it's a very attractive method for them. Same thing, by the way, of athletes. They're used to following a playbook, so they often make good franchisees. So we have a couple of those. One in particular was young, very eager to learn, and wanted some sort of get involved with some sort of business where he could get into business right away, and yet grow with it over time, and have some good mentorship. And so that was a great example, one of our franchisees, and has worked out incredibly well and has matured quite a bit and is building a very sizable business.
Super.
You mentioned that there's always a worry about your reputation, because I have trouble delegating in my own office to people sometimes, and I'd be really worried if I were to try to franchise my law firm. My name's on the door.
Yeah.
If I'm giving up all that control to someone else, what sort of institutional controls do you have to make sure that every Big Mac is the same no matter what McDonald's you go to?
Yeah, it's a great point. And well, yes, every franchise system has some sort of legal document. It's a long document that both sides sign, the franchise agreement, but so there are some terms that protect both parties. But at the end of the day, you really want to be involved with someone who is going to buy into it. We do some quality checks. We do some customer checks afterwards as well to make sure that that all of our franchisees, including the few that I as the franchisor own and operate. And I'll tell you, our franchisees want us to do these things, because if there's one or two franchisees that are really bringing down the average, that reputation will start to get hurt. Sure. So we kind of have this policing that our good performing franchisees really want us as the franchisor to make sure that everybody else is performing well, because it helps lift everybody up. That's right.
Yeah.
Super. Now, let me ask you this, Christian. This thought just occurred to me. Like it sounds like you need people who know how to follow set procedures, who are used to routine. And it strikes me that there's probably a lot of people who are currently incarcerated who would fit that mold, because they get the same thing every day, every week.
Yeah.
So criminals are. No, I'm just teasing. We have to have a little humor in every episode. But so what kinds of things would you say go wrong in a franchise or franchisee relationship?
I think sometimes where there's just not a good personality fit between the franchisor and their culture and the franchisee. And we're not the only ones that do this, but we use a profiling system. So any serious candidate will go online and take a 15-minute survey. I don't want to say a test, because it's really not. It's just sort of a tool that we use to benchmark you against our top performing franchisees to see if there's a good fit. You get we look at the results. We also give that to the candidate so they can see it. And that's just one way to showing that we're serious in doing this, because it's not a good fit for either of us if the marriage isn't going to work out. So that's one thing we do, and just really trying to get to know them. We're going to we have made mistakes. I'm sure we're going to continue to make mistakes at some point, but obviously you want to minimize those things. And if we find out that there's a mistake made, we try to find a way of working through that, and ultimately doing what's best for both parties. We've gone to the point where some people, if and when they want to sell their business, I'm jumping ahead, but at some point, one of the reasons people buy franchisees is they get a nice resale value, and we help our franchisees find an exit. So, because at the end of the day, if one of my franchisees is not happy, it's not a good fit for us either. So so that's it. I know we're focusing on the negatives, but generally the relationship can work out very well for both sides because from the franchisor's perspective, we can grow our geographic footprint faster this way versus setting up our own offices. And at the same time, for the franchisee, it's a way of getting to business quickly and a much lower rate of failure if you get involved with a good franchise system.
And you made me think of a couple of people that years ago used to work for me, and I remember this one lady who was my controller, and she was terrific. She would do things exactly the way I asked her to do it. In fact, I had to be careful because she followed me so close to the letter of what I said that it could. I could get off track pretty soon. But it seems to me that that's the kind of person who has that sort of structured mentality, but maybe doesn't have the full entrepreneurial gene to start something totally from scratch.
You hit it on the head. I think a good franchisee is someone who has some entrepreneurialism in them, but at the same time wants some assistance from the franchisor, as well as, related to a point that you made earlier, from your fellow franchisees, because in a healthy franchise system, you're going to get help from your fellow franchisees because everyone wants everyone else to succeed.
Now, you touched on something that I think is very important to comment on. You mentioned sales and selling. In my perspective on franchises is that, you've got, it's sort of like the high end.
Yeah.
You've got McDonald's, Now, Kevin and I could open up a McDonald's in the middle of, the desert, and people are going to show up because it's McDonald's and everybody knows what it is. So you got almost like built-in customers. I've seen a lot of franchise concepts where they kind of give you the operating manual, and then you have to go out and sell it. And one of the things I think about Renew is the fact that this is pre-sold to big hotel chains. It's not so much a totally cold selling effort. It's more like, I'm Jim from your local certified or approved vendor.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Jim. Is that I can almost guarantee that no one listening to us now knows who Renew Systems is, but I can also guarantee you that a number of people inside the hotel industry that are our potential customers do know who we are because we've developed relationships, and these preferred vendor partnerships mean that when we open up an office in certain locations where we don't have it, we have a very good chance of getting a number of these customers over time. It's part of our system. We've got these good relationships. We know who to talk to. And you're right. So I'm not going to say X amount of revenue is guaranteed in your first year. That would not be right of me to say that. But history has shown that we've had very good success opening up new locations, whether they're in the U.S. or now increasingly internationally as well, by following our systems, by using our relationships and our reputation and the partnerships that we've established with some of the big hotel chains.
So we talked a little bit about what you as a franchisor are looking for in a franchisee. What should franchisees be looking for in franchisors?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because, as we've been saying, it's really a marriage. So obviously, you'd hope both sides would be happy going into it.
I was told once that there's 3 sides to every story about a marriage: his side, her side, and the truth.
Yeah. I think from a person considering getting involved with a franchise would want it to do a few things. One, is it a business that they think they could get excited about? First of all, is it something they could actually sort of envision themselves doing day in and day out? 2, do they like the franchisor? Do they think they could get along with the people there? 3, what's the track record of the franchisor? And this is all, when you start to investigate it, it's fairly easy to uncover. What's the success rate? Do people last long in that franchise set? And then importantly, when you start to talk to existing franchisees, are they happy? What do they say about being part of it? and economically, how well are they doing? These are all things that you can find out. And if for some reason you can't find them out easily, that may be a red flag for you. So a lot of it is to fit with the franchisor. Is it something you think you can do and want to do? And is there a good track record? But also what's their systems like? Do they have a very good playbook? And have they made it sort of easy so that, hey, on day one, I know what to do here. Day three, I know what to do there. Do they have a well-defined system, or have they only been doing this for about a year in 3 locations and there's just not enough history to know? I think that really goes a long way in telling you some of the things that you'd want to know.
And before I started my firm, I was a silent partner in an Anytime Fitness franchise.
Oh, okay.
With a good friend of mine. He still owns one of the franchises.
Yeah.
This was his second one. But it was a great experience. It was really easy to get everything set up remotely in a town that was 2 hours away from where we lived. And we, after a couple of years, we ended up selling it and making a good profit on it. And what you said about being important that the franchisee believe in the message of the franchisor is absolutely true. My buddy, he goes in and he works out in his gym, and his message is that he's trying to help people be healthy, and he goes every day believing in what he's doing, and it's been a really good experience for him. So.
Yeah, good to hear, and that's what you really like, is that when you've got a good franchise system and you've got happy franchisees, then everybody wins. And it's a nice opportunity because you can, as a prospective franchisee, within a matter of a short time, within months or in some cases within weeks, you can be in business and up and running. And you got to pay some to start, but if you were to reinvent the wheel, create your own fitness center, the amount of time and money experimenting to try to figure it out on your own, you're probably better off joining a franchise system.
Sure.
You guys made me think of a couple of things. One, your friend who has the gym, maybe he and I should talk, because I'm sort of developing myself into the before model. I don't get enough exercise. I eat a lot of bad food, so I can be the before, and he could have some
it could be steady work for you.
Yeah.
Standing outside the gym next to
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's that's a real interesting point. And if somebody is looking to maybe live in a different part of the country, but they want to do something in a job, is franchising an option for them to be able to set up somewhere else?
Yeah, it certainly is. Like in our case, we've been talking to folks that just are getting tired with the cold winters and want to move to a nice warmer climate. You can do that with a franchise system. We as an example, have some nice territories in the southern part of the country, so you can move to a place of your choice and then be in business and hopefully find a good livelihood doing it that way. So it certainly is doable and can be done in a fairly timely manner as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have one last question for you. I know when we were looking at franchises, it was, kind of paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
There were so many different options.
Yeah.
There were some that were enormously expensive to get into, some that were much less so. But, whether it's expensive is really a measure of how much value you're getting from it. How do you have any tips for people that are, looking at the menu of different franchises, other than just finding something they're passionate about, to find out what sort of value they're going to be getting for the money that they're paying?
Yeah, and it's a good question. And obviously, everyone has different financial means. Sometimes there is some money available from banks and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to certainly look at something that is within your means. But as far as the value on it, a lot of this you can determine from once you start talking to the franchisor. They'll let you then talk to the franchisees. You can also look at their documents. In this long document that I referenced, there is a section in there about what the unit economics look like in most of the cases. And then between that and talking to the existing franchisees, you can get a pretty good sense as, hey, in year one, I could expect to have X amount of revenue and X amount of profit. In year three, you can kind of get a sense of that. and that will tell you sort of the payback as to how those things work. So
So it's kind of like any business purchase. You want to
diligence,
see what your ROI is going to be,
Yeah.
and what a typical franchise. You probably have more of a track record than a one-off business that you'd be purchasing, because you can look at all the franchisees and see what they're averaging.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There's some good information in looking at a franchise concept.
So I think we're probably getting kind of close to our time.
How can people reach you?
Thank you.
You are looking for new franchise
We're definitely
owners?
looking for additional franchisees in the States, and then in a number of countries overseas. And I'd be happy to talk to you about Renew Systems. And then if you just have any questions about this conversation we've had, general question about franchising, I'm happy to do it. Come to our website. We're Renew Systems, Renew spelled R-E-N-U-E, renewsystems.com, R-E-N-U-E, systems.com. My name is David Grossman. I head up the company, and I very much look forward to speaking with you.
Is there a phone number?
There is a phone number. We're at 630-691-0800. Again, 630-691-0800. And renewsystems.com. Lots of information, and our phone number is there as well.
Super. Kevin?
Well, if you'd like to reach me for legal services or just to talk about business, you can call me at my law firm, O'Flaherty Law, 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations, and we do just about everything. You can also find a lot of information on our show here at seizeyourbusiness.com. You can download the audio file or see the video that we're doing. So please check that out. And Jim, how can people reach you?
Yeah, you can reach me at 630-272-3895. And I just offer to everybody that I'm finding video is just a great way to promote your business. And I'm working with a couple of YouTube channels. If you want to use video or interviewing or anything like that, just give me a call, and we'll find out the best way to make it work for you. 630-272-3895. Until next time, have a great week.